Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Cash Matlock. The Mississippi Department of Health reports 322 new cases of COVID-19 with 17 new deaths. Mississippi's total number of COVID-19 cases since March 11th now stands at more than 11,000 with 510 deaths. Currently, there are 428 Mississippians hospitalized with confirmed COVID-19 infection. 45 of the new cases reported today were among residents in long-term care facilities, and there are now 101 active outbreaks of COVID-19 in long-term care facilities. More than 6,200 Mississippians are presumed to have recovered from the coronavirus. Concerns over COVID-19 have put a spotlight on the importance of having a healthy immune system. Overall, medical experts say people with a healthy immune system can recover quicker from the coronavirus than those with a compromised system. WCBI's Allie Martin tells us about a Northeast Mississippi business offering an immune boosting therapy that's getting a lot of attention.
Regenerative Health Solutions has offered IV immunity boost treatments for some time, but interest from the public has definitely increased in the wake of the coronavirus. Every few weeks, Ricky Rowan takes time out of his busy schedule for an IV immunity boost.
I'm a person that don't like needles.
But Rowan decided to give the therapy a shot after doing some research. The 47-year-old usually gets a mixture of vitamins and an energy boost with each treatment. Rowan says he has seen a big difference in his health and well-being.
I have noticed a difference in energy, in joint health. Overall, feeling good, feeling much better.
Sean Phelps and his wife Amy opened Regenerative Health Solutions and Fuel Supplement and Coffee Shop a couple of years ago. Interest in the IV immune therapy has steadily increased because of COVID-19.
There's a lot more calls, more people coming out for the IVs, and they're getting online, they're finding us, they're looking for ways to boost their immunity now, especially with the coronavirus.
The procedure allows vitamins to get directly into a person's system.
The IV is straight into your bloodstream, so you get 100% absorption of that, whereas if you're taking vitamin C by mouth or something like that, you're going to get about 30-35% of that. So it goes straight into your bloodstream. We give you a high-dose vitamin C also with that IV bag. We give you vitamin B complex, which is going to give you energy. We put calcium and other things in that bag to also help with your health and build your system up.
A nurse actually administers the IV booster. I'm getting a mixture of energy and immunotherapy. It takes about 15 minutes to get the IV boost. Lauren Green is another regular client who says the IV treatments have made a big difference.
I've not had cold or flu. Any of those bugs that typically go around during the winter months. I've not had any experience with that and just kept up our health and felt really good.
The IV immunity boost aren't marketed as a cure for the coronavirus, but medical experts agree that having a strong immune system is a good defense against COVID-19 and other ailments. In Boonville, Allie Martin, WCBI News.
The IV treatments have been used by athletes for years to help them recover quicker, and since the treatments consist of vitamins, there is no FDA regulation.
We've had some isolated showers across the area today, but most of us stay dry. Even some blue sky out there in Louisville. Take a look at that on the Alpha Insurance camera network. Just a few white puffy clouds to give you a little bit of shade on this warm Saturday afternoon. 84 right now down in Louisville, and we're going to fall down into the mid and upper 60s overnight tonight. Still very mild and warm overnight. It's going to be another muggy night, and we're going to stay mostly cloudy as well. Winds coming out of the southeast anywhere from 5 to 10 miles an hour. And as we go into tomorrow, better chances for showers and storms. I think everybody has the shot to see at least one or two isolated storms through the day tomorrow. And looking ahead, after that, we really dry out. But after that, we're getting a cool down, and we're also keeping a close eye on the tropics. I'll tell you what we're tracking over there coming up in just a little bit. Cash.
Thanks, Trevor. Governor Tate Reeves is making changes to the Safer at Home order and will allow another industry to get back to business. Courtney Ann Jackson explains.
Tattoo parlors around the state have been asking, why not us, as they watched other industries reopen. Although the Safer at Home order doesn't expire for another 10 days, the governor giving them the green light now.
I don't want to wait if there are things that we can safely do to allow people to return to work. To that end, I signed a new executive order today. It amends our current Safer at Home order. It allows tattoo parlors to reopen with health guidelines that are very similar to those for salons and barbers.
A few other changes that will impact outdoor activity.
Things like allowing local entities to decide curfews on parks, lifting curfews on dine-in restaurants that do not serve alcohol, and ending the prohibition on fishing tournaments.
I asked Reeves about the complexities of figuring out what industries reopen and what the best practices should be once they do.
Those are the details that take time. And they take time, and it's better to get it right than to get it done quickly. But my goal is to get it done quickly and right for the people who need it.
There's no playbook for something like this, and he made this admission.
We made a mistake. I made a mistake. I made a mistake because I identified essential versus non-essential. There is no such thing, and I've learned this. I've learned a lot, but I've learned this over the last several months. There is no such thing as a non-essential business to the business owner and the employees that depend on that business being functional and operational and paying them so they can provide for their family.
Courtney Ann Jackson, WCBI News.
Governor Reeves is stressing personal responsibility as more restrictions are lifted. Lowndes County supervisors have given the go-ahead to tax incentives for 2 separate companies. This is called a fee in lieu of ad valorem taxes. The agreements would allow a company to pay a one-time fee to the county instead of annual property taxes. Supervisors were told that both firms would generate solar electric power. The names of the solar companies have been released. Locations for the proposed plants have been located in Lowndes County. Now each company will work with TVA to see if their proposal is accepted.
We have 2 economic development projects that are looking at our area, and they both wanted to have this brought before the board this morning if they were to locate here, that the board would agree to go into a family agreement with them.
Well, supervisors were told that both plants would bring initial investments of at least $60 million to build a facility in addition to construction employment. 12 years from 1st to 12th grade, each step moves toward a goal. For one group of seniors from around the Golden Triangle, this is their day. Today, the Golden Triangle Early College High School took a unique approach to celebrate the class of 2020. The class was honored in a drive-through graduation.
It's, I think today we just kind of felt all of the emotions because we've watched these kids really put their heads down and go to work over the last 4 years, and then when we knew that we wouldn't be coming back to school, they've missed prom, they've missed senior night, those kinds of things. So to be able to be here today and to be here together as a group has meant the world to me.
Coming up tonight on WCBI News at 9 and 10, we're going to have the story on what some are calling an emotional graduation. Today in Starkville, the United Way and a local church came together to give back. From noon until 3 p.m. at the Starkville Community Church, the United Way was hosting a drive-in food drive. Now, a food drive is not to be confused with a food giveaway. The food collected from the drive will be sent to food pantries throughout the area and then distributed out to those in need. Members from both organizations say they're happy to help in any way that they can.
We feel blessed to have the space that we have in general, and so our goal is to use everything that we believe God's given us to bless our community, and that we believe He's put us in this city and in this area to do as much good as possible. And so for us, it's a chance to honor God by using what He's given us, but it's also a chance for us to be a part of helping an organization that's helping so many others in our community.
I think it's wonderful. This church is all about serving the community and being out there and helping people, and United Way has the same mission to serve and to assist, and I just think it's a wonderful thing for both groups.
For more information on how to get involved, visit our website, WCBI.com. Small businesses across the area are reopening. We're going to have more on this story coming up after the break. Stay with us.
You're watching WCBI News at 6 p.m. with Cash Matlock.
Welcome back, everyone. Hometown businesses across Northeast Mississippi are reopening as the restrictions imposed by the coronavirus pandemic have been easing. WCBI's Chad Groening visited several reopened home-owned shops in Saltillo.
We do. Are you looking for a specific design or just... Okay, we have several in stock and we'll be here till 4 today. Thank you.
A customer calling into Barnyard Boutique in downtown Saltillo. The store, which specializes in curvy apparel, has recently reopened after the restrictions imposed by Governor Tate Reeves. Owner Tammy King opened the store in October of 2017. She says they had to make some adjustments during the lockdown.
It's really sad that, we had to go to curbside only. We were doing it for the safety of my employees as well as my customers. And we were fortunate enough to have the face masks, the hand sanitizers, items like that. But we really did not sell very many clothes or anything because, people were, more worried about the other items. And it really put a bind on my business.
Down the street, Danny Brown of DB's Floral Designs had to do a lot of different things he's never done through the years.
We did a lot of curbside service. We still serviced what funerals we could doing the change, but we were still here for our customers if they needed us. We tied a lot of red bows because people were thanking the people in the medical fields and other things, and as well as bows for Easter. People decorating their yards for the crosses and that kind of thing that a lot of people are doing that time of the year. It's been very good. We've had some loyal customers that stayed with us.
And right next door, Brown's wife Karma opened the Wash Tub Antiques 3 years ago.
Well, we got shut down. The antique shop got shut down for several weeks completely, and that cut down on all sales. And then we could do a little bit of curbside, but people like to shop in the stores with antique shops. But we have had a lot of people come back in. Now, we lost a lot of revenue. We did. But I'm thinking if people will just shop local, then we'll do great and we'll have a great comeback.
Chad Groening, WCBI News, Saltillo.
Well, there are still many businesses in that area, including many restaurants that are still not open.
A warm and muggy spring evening out there in Starkville and across the area. You see just a few clouds out there. The rain is moving in, though. I'll tell you when to have that umbrella handy coming up in my first alert forecast right after this.
For WCBI First Alert AccuWeather Forecast with meteorologist Trevor Burchett.
It's certainly not hard to find the storm system on the map today. It's just off to our west, right there in the Arklatex region, that low pressure system churning up lots of moisture. That's what's given us just a few sprinkles across the area today, but that's going to get closer to us tomorrow and really ramp up our rain chances going into Sunday. As I mentioned, just a few isolated showers out there today. Most of us didn't see rainfall. Most of that activity limited off to the west along I-55 and to the south near Jackson. Still not out of the question for us to see an isolated sprinkle through the afternoon and evening hours. Most of us, though, will stay dry at least until the early morning hours of Sunday. That's not the case, though. Down in Florida, they're dealing with the first tropical system of 2020. Now, hurricane season typically begins June 1st, so this is early compared to where we normally are. But we have Tropical Depression 1 officially named. You see that center of circulation there just to the north and the east of Miami. About 35-mile-an-hour winds right now. That has it just below tropical storm strength, but it is anticipated to strengthen here over the next few days and become a tropical storm. When it does so, it will become Tropical Storm Arthur. You see, it's going to get very, very close to the Outer Banks of North Carolina before eventually heading out to sea. Still really not any major impacts expected on land. We do have a tropical storm watch in effect, though, for the North Carolina coastline. Generally, though, a fish storm, not much to worry about. But we are expecting an above-average hurricane season this year, due in part to the very warm ocean water temperatures. We're going to keep a close eye on this. Of course, we'll keep you updated, but fortunately, Arthur not going to be a major threat to land. Overnight tonight, as I mentioned, can't rule out an isolated sprinkle, especially as we get past midnight into the early morning hours. We're going to stay warm, though. Temperatures only getting down into the mid and upper 60s for our lows tonight. And as I mentioned, tomorrow, the best chance to see rainfall, 82 for the high. It's not going to be a constant all-day washout, but there will be several storms out and about. So if you're planning on being outside tomorrow, probably not the day to do it. You may want to push it back to a later date in the week. I'll show you hour by hour. Notice waking up, not a whole lot going on. Lunchtime, though, we've got that line of showers and storms starting to pop up. That's going to move through here as we get into the afternoon and evening. Here's 4 p.m. You see that line of showers and storms out there. And I think as we get into the sunset hours of tomorrow into overnight Sunday into Monday, we'll really start to dry out. But Rain chances still in play through the day tomorrow, anywhere from a ½ inch to an inch of rain possible in some spots, but that's really the biggest rain chance here in the next 7 days. We've got a 60% shot for tomorrow. After that, just really isolated chances for showers through the week. Most of us stay dry for the upcoming work week. We're just going to keep these 20% chances in play just to be on the safe side because there could be some isolated showers out and about. So again, showers and storms out there tomorrow. No severe weather, but some gusty winds certainly possible. We cool down though, down into the 70s Tuesday and Wednesday, back into the mid 80s by the end of the week. We're back with more after this. Stay with us.
The weather is warming up, so for a lot of people, it's time to get growing. Our Nightside producer takes a look at some ways to contain your garden.
I'm Eric Lampkin. At nights I'm a producer. During the days I work in my garden and my yard a lot. Keeps me away from the desk. And as I've gotten older, I've learned more about beds and containers. When I started gardening, I was in my 40s. I'm not anymore. This makes things a little easier, a little closer, and it cuts down on some of the work. We're going to take a look at how to do this. A couple of years ago, I tilled all this front tine tiller. If you're going to use a front tine tiller at my age, I suggest you have a good massage therapist and chiropractor. Last year, I had some problems with the tiller, so I built this first bed. I believe in recycling and repurposing, and about 6 years ago, my wife and I demolished an old screened-in porch. A lot of the lumber wasn't any good, but it had this little half wall built around it, and all the boards were about 41 inches long. So I used that as sort of the footprint for my beds. Beds are pretty simple, but a lot of people seem to think bigger is better. I don't know where I read this, but I read this early on when I started this. You don't want a bed to be any more than 4 feet wide, because that way, no matter which side you're working at, you're no more than you don't have to reach any more than 2 feet across. These are a little bit shorter than that. These are about 41 inches because of the boards I use, and they're pretty simple to build. We go about a foot deep with basically 2 boards high and 1 board across, and then you make up your length whichever way you want to go. This bed right here used mostly native soil with a little potting mix and some black cow mixed in with it. Last year it had squash in it. We had some vine borer problems, so we had to move the squash. This year we have some English peas, a little homemade trellis, some PVC and fishing wire. Easy enough. This bed I also built last year to work off of the other one. It has a little bit different soil combination. We use some potting soil, topsoil, black cow. I think there's a little native soil in there too. It's growing greens like crazy. We've got lettuce, we've got some Swiss chard, some romaine. This stuff's about to go to seed, but you know, in another 6 months, we'll have some more greenery popping up there. Also another attempt at peas. It didn't work out as well. One thing I do when I build these beds, you'll see these hoops, and one of the first things I generally put on here after I build them is I take some ½ inch electric conduit strap. And I put those in on the sides of the beds, take some PVC pipe, bend it, it bends pretty easy, and just hoop over the bed. Right now I don't need them, but when the weather starts getting cold, when you start having to worry about frost, you can put a plastic cover up, put a sheet over it, and it'll protect it from frost. When it's too hot, for like some of these salad greens for example, you can put some shade cloth over it, or again, a lightweight sheet, shades some of the sun off, keeps them from getting scorched. Now, the other part of this is container gardening. Containers don't have to be fancy. As you can tell, we've used a little bit of everything around here. We had some old buckets left for some projects. This one's got potatoes. Actually, we have 3 potato plants here. That's our experiment. Every year in the garden, we like to experiment with something. This year it's potatoes. We'll see how that goes. These actually have straight compost in them. We have a compost pile where we dump our food scraps and other organic material. Put that down the compost pile. A couple of years, you got dirt. This is another of this year's projects. It's a tomato trough. We built it for 6. It's got about 10 or 12 in it, but that's all right. Gardening's about experimenting, and gardening's about fun. Planting what you eat and eating what you plant, hopefully in the end. Most of the stuff you can do in containers or in small beds like this. Some of it you still got to put in the dirt. we might look into that later. But for now, hey, if I can do this, you can do this.
Rain and storms across the area tomorrow. Generally, though, for the next 7 days, we're looking dry. We're going to keep the chance for some isolated showers in play Monday through next Saturday, but it's kind of those general summer pop-up storms that happen every day. The best chance of rain is tomorrow. After that, we cool down, highs only in the 70s through the first half of the week, but quickly back up into the mid and possibly upper 80s by next weekend.
It looks like I'm not going to get my Sunday morning walk around the lake.
No, save it for next week.
Thanks, Trevor. And thank you guys for watching. We'll see you back here at 10.